man who lives and gives expensive jewels. A kiss on the hand may be quite continental, but diamonds are a girl's best friend. A kiss may be grand, but won't pay the rental on your humble flat, or help you at the automat. Males grow cold as girls grow old, and we all lose our charms in the end. But square cut or pear shape, these rocks don't lose their shape. Diamonds are a girl's best friend.
Takes nerves, you've got to admit. That's really too much.
This is on tape. We're trying to think. Excuse us. Well, I guess I'm a little impetuous. I would like to be happy, but who's happy?
The voice is a strong part of a person's character. It gives flavor to the personality. So much happens in the voice. I've always believed that the voice expresses even more than the face.
My mother's first husband was named Baker. Well, in all my school records, it was Norma Jean Baker. My father, I don't know anything about him because he wasn't related to me. I never lived with my mother. As you know, my mother had, you know, mental disturbances during her lifetime. She was taken away. Later, some people said, well, it's better you forget about your mother. I said, but where's my mother? And I said, well, it's better you forget about her. She's dead. Well, when I was put in the orphan's home, they had to drag me in. I said, I'm not an orphan. Because I was going to stay with these people from New Orleans. And then suddenly I was taken to the orphan's home. You see, some places I lived, I was taken there at the end of the school term, and they were planning to keep me. But then, after the summer, they'd had enough. So, or for whatever reason, and then I was taken to another place. So that's why there's so many. So counting the orphan's homes makes 11. We'd get up at 6 in the morning, and we did our work before we went to a public school. It's very, well, it's bad to have children from an institution like that go to a public school, because in a public school the kids say, oh, they're from the home. They're from the home. And, you know, and you feel, I always tried to go around as if I were one of the other kids.
I always think of a little girl whenever she speaks. It's true that we always have this image of her as lacking, not love, that's too simple, but of being more or less forgotten. First rejected, then taken back. There's no bitterness, but an emptiness. You find some way to make people notice you just to survive.
Later on, the county, Los Angeles County, took over my support. And it was awful because you had to go down. First, the woman would come around and say, now, let's see, I think you need some shoes. And she would write down one pair of shoes. And then she said, I think you need 2 dresses. One for Sunday and one for school, or something like that. And they looked like out of flour sacks. Oh, they were terrible. And the shoes awful. And I would be ashamed. I'd say, I don't want them.
Anyway, she has this certain coyness, like anyone who is sensitive. She always has a little laugh when she says something depressing or something a little downbeat.
You know, I was always screaming out the window. I used to sit up in the window and cry because I'd look over and I'd see RKO, and I knew my mother had worked there, and she'd been a cutter there.
Direction.
Oh, sure. If you don't have a direction, you just keep going round in circles. And look, you can see by this just how straight my direction is. River Gulch, that's where I started. This is where I am now, and look where I'm going. Where? Hollywood and Vine. Look, straight as an arrow. River Gulch, Hollywood and Vine.
One time, a very wonderful director, Kazan, said, I had no ambition. That was my problem. But I would like very much to be a fine actress, a true actress. That's what I mean by fine. A real actress.
A real actress. Well, yes, of course, it's what she wanted most. Yet there were so many obstacles. It was such a tough struggle. She wanted above everything to try to achieve that, except that when you have a figure as extraordinary as she had, when you are that pretty, trying to prove that you can be an actress too, takes some doing. It's always a fight.
I want to do my best, the best that I can do in that moment. When the camera starts until it stops. That moment I want to be perfect.
I believe at first she just wanted to be in the spotlight. I mean, she wanted a certain recognition. She wanted everyone to admire her. You know, she did start out as a spinner. Maybe she had an identity problem, or she wanted to be recognized, to belong to someone or something, I don't know. The one thing that strikes me is the way she's always posing so fast and so well. She always turns her face to the light, be it artificial light or natural sunlight, as in all those photographs on the beach she made by the dozen. True, she's always turned her face towards the source of light. She vibrates with good health. That's part of her sensuality. She really knows her body, that she's aware of the effect she has. There's a natural grace, an automatic talent for showing herself to her best advantage. It really shows up in this series of pictures next to each other. You may like some better than others, but they all have that wonderful grace. You never get tired of looking at Marilyn. Everyone has this love for Marilyn that's irrational, almost. It's not just me either. Everybody feels it. There's something about Marilyn that's totally irresistible. Even for today's woman, she has an appeal. I think she projects a very feminine image that's somehow timeless, that's not at all limited to her own period. There is something wonderfully tender. There is something about her that's very endearing. She evokes both femininity and childishness. A lot of women, if you ask me, identify much more with women who are immature. It has nothing to do with age. It's a question of a look, a smile. Even when she was going through the worst moment of her life, she could still come up with that look she had, that dazzling smile never failed.
Two little girls from Little Rock. We lived on the wrong side of the tracks. But the gentlemen friends who used to call, they never did seem to mind at all. They came to the wrong side of the tracks.
Let's have that in slow motion, because their entrance, they really are a couple of vamps. When we see her films today, that difference between her real self and the role she's playing adds an extra touch. It's really tangible, so much more sensual. A professional dancer might have done certain things differently, more cleanly. But when you have that natural grace, that's what makes the difference between technical perfection and a truly personal interpretation.
Then someone broke my heart in Little Rock. So I up and left the pieces there. Like a little lost lamb I roamed about. I came to New York and I found out that men are the same way everywhere. I was young and determined to be wine and dine and ermine, and I worked at it all around the clock. Now one of these days in my fancy clothes, I'm a-going back home and punch the nose of the one who broke my heart. The one who broke my heart. One who broke my heart in Little Rock, Little Rock, Little Rock.
In all her musical sequences, almost always her face, she's totally focused on the camera. It's a trick to lift her face and send those intimate kisses, and naturally they seem to come right through the screen. The song numbers are remarkable because actually she's playing for the camera.
Marilyn Monroe and Jane Russell are welcomed by George Bowser, manager of the Fox West Coast Theaters, as they arrive to make their imprints in the famous concrete of Grauman's Chinese Theater in Hollywood. Filmdom's first blonde and first brunette, Marilyn and Jane won their chance to join Filmdom's immortals by their work in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, the Technicolor adaptation of the sensationally humorous musical comedy stage hit. Hollywood's photogs delight in the contrasting duo who, despite their clashing roles in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, offstage are as friendly as sorority sisters.
Saturday and Sunday, I was taken there to the Grauman's Chinese for 10 cents. I would go in, sit in the first row, and I watched all kinds of movies like Cleopatra with Claude Colbert. That I remembered very well. I'd sit there and I'd see it over and over and over and over again, till late at night. If I had seen a movie, I would go in my room and I would act out every part. Only I would act out before that happened or after, and I would act out all the parts, the men as well as the women. I never looked in the mirror. No, just the feeling. what he said, then what she said, then what he felt and she felt. Usually be sad.
Take me now. Make my life new perfection. Take me, darling. Don't forsake me. Kiss me, hold me tight.
This shot is great. It's difficult to describe. There's a bit of the playmate, only much more than that. It's also it's one of the moments in the film where there's no speech, and it perfectly reveals her character. Of course, when I looked at it before, when I was alone, I watched this sequence in slow motion, and in the movement of her arm, when she put it down, there's a kind of total abandon, along with a grace that's quite extraordinary. Of course, it's true. First of all, look at her hands. I adore them. They remind you of a child, long and fine-boned, the hands of a child, and a leg, the curve of a foot. Well, the whole thing has a feeling of sensuality, and everything is round, soft and round, a bit abandoned, a bit childlike.
I was at the Hollywood Studio Club. Tom Kelly had asked me to pose nude, but I always said no, I never would. And then I got so far behind the rent, so I called up and I said, "Are you sure they won't recognize me?" He said, "I promise." So we did it. And that's all. He just spread out some red velvet and had me lie down on the red velvet. I thought, they put some kind of lotion on you or something. Nothing. So it was very simple and drafty.
Whisk Automatic is a thicker liquid detergent which goes deep into your wash. Whisk is thicker because it has more concentrated cleaning power than other liquids, lifting out dirt from deep within the fibers, but with the deep down care which is kind to your clothes. Returning them all to you softer, cleaner, and brighter. Whisk Automatic, a thicker liquid which goes deep into your wash.
Fresher taste of new PG lemon tea that makes you glad you made it. So there we made it.
Get that down your neck there.
Typical. Flipping typical.
Television. I forgot she's on television. 50 million television sets in America. And now with the coaxial cable.
I had onions at lunch. I had garlic dressing at dinner. But he'll never know because I stay kissing sweet the new dazzle-dent way. And now that I have your attention, I want to warn all you girls and women of New York about an evil, dangerous, perfectly dreadful married man who lives downstairs in my building.
The thing that's marvelous in comedy is the childish aspect of it all. I mean, you take liberties with reality. It's marvelous.
Please, dear.
It quakes me. It makes me feel goose-pimply all over. I don't know where I am, or who I am, or what I'm doing. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't ever stop. Why did you stop?
You know why I stopped.
Why?
Because now I'm going to take you in my arms and kiss you. Very quickly and very hard.
An actor's job is to act in anything, but playing comedy is special. It's twice as much fun, I think. Quite often I think of acting as a sort of game that is for me. Acting should always be a pleasure. Of course, it's also hard work, but when you see a comedy, anyway, I think it should make you feel glad just to be alive.
I don't know about Rachmaninoff with it shakes you and quakes you and stuff, but this really gets me.
It does?
And how?
Well, I think comedy is harder for me. I mean, it's just harder to act comedy, I think. For me, it seems that way. But I would like a variety of parts. Dramatic, sometimes comedy. Not musical too much because I never studied it. I always wanted to, but I never did, and it's very difficult.
There's things she has in older comedies which I think is terribly difficult to play if you're a woman. Seems the barrier between an actress who looks truly comical and an actress with a figure like hers, which is more, call it dream girl, glamour and sex appeal and whatnot. It's very, very difficult to use both your physique, your charm, and at the same time be able to display all your other talents as an actress. It's really very hard and very tricky for women to act comedy.
That's called I should say, what can I do?
Okay, miss, I reckon you can go on with your song now.
Whereabouts were we, Henry?
I should stay away.
I should stay away, but what can I do? I hear your name, and I'm a flame. A burning desire.
The thing I think is incredible is her extraordinary talent for doing everything as if she's never done it before. When she gives that look of astonishment, you don't feel she's, that is, you feel it's a spontaneous reaction. She's not acting. It's not calculated. She has a different kind of mystery from other actresses, I think. At first impression, you'd say that she's much more transparent. But it's a different form of mystery because it's always masked. It's hidden behind a shrug or a movement or by her smile, her famous smile.
Thank you. And I want to thank all the members of the American Legion. Now? Thank you. And I want to thank all the members of the American Legion.
This is wonderful. There, back it up just a little to the moment where all of a sudden it's as if she were rehearsing it.
Now?
Unbelievable. You see the difference in her look?
And I want to thank all the members of the American Legion.
She's acting. She's not someone who's there for an award. She's acting a part. Because for her, it's part of her profession, and you can feel that compared to what you see nowadays when an actress comes to get an award, where there's always kind of mixture of timidity and nervousness. With her, you know that she's prepared. I don't mean she's not proud or happy about it, but she's acting too. It's a part. It's a movie for her. I adore her outfit in this sequence. Gloves with little polka dots. I wondered to what extent it was the studio who dictated what she should be wearing. It's not at all the way you expect her to dress. It's so different from what you usually see her wear. The stand-up collar, the bow, short gloves, it's all so demure.
I was in a dress that Aunt Anna, because she had washed and ironed this white eyelet cotton dress, and I went to 20th where then Lion was head of casting, and he says, "Who is this girl?" And he said, "I look so fresh and young and I don't know what all." And also he said, "I've only discovered one other person, and that was Jean Harlow." All of them got together in the talent department, and they put me into contract, stock contract, for a year, and then I was dropped. And then when I was hired back after the Asphalt Jungle, you know, 20th Century Fox, Zanuck said, "I understand you used to be here." I said, "That's right. Well, things are quite different now." And he said I had a three-dimensional quality having to do with sex.
I think Marilyn, above all, is always very sexy. It's the only word. Her clothes hug her body in such a way that that displays everything and at the same time protects her completely. A bit like a corset. It constricts you, yet displays the figure. It shows the whole body, whereas in fact nothing is revealed. Now in this film here, the choice of costume is in no way due to accident. There is something very erotic in this half-light, her back turned to us, the way that she moves, the way that her straps are falling off her shoulder, and yet the dress stays up. There's something very disturbing. When you break down a scene like this, movement by movement, it's unusual that each frame can stand alone as an unsettling photograph.
Love and work are the only things that really happen to us. And everything else is just, doesn't really matter. And I think one without the other isn't so good. I think trying to be happy is almost as difficult as trying to be a good actress. You have to work at both of them. I did some scenes at the actor studio, and it was a very interesting experience working on stage with a live audience. Well, I always have a secret feeling that I'm really a fake or something. Lee Strasberg, my teacher, said, "Why do you feel that about yourself?" And then he started to say, "But you're a human being." I said, "Yes, I am." I said, "But I feel like I have to be more." He says, "No." He says, "You start with yourself."
The thing that draws certain people to become actors, but frightens off other people, is based on desires, but also on refusals. I believe an actor's complexes are just as important as talent and sensitivity and intelligence in this business. In other words, to be confronted with yourself, to use things inside you which are often difficult or buried, admitted, but maybe you'd rather not face them right then. Well, in my opinion, it's a method that's truthful, but also painful, very painful.
Oh, it's the sweetest, tenderest thing anyone ever said to me.
Awful hard for a fella after he's been turned down once to get up enough guts to try again.
You don't need guts, Paul.
I don't?
That's the last thing in this world you need.
Well, anyhow, I just don't have any now. So I just have to tell you what I feel in my heart.
Yes?
I still wish you was going back to the ranch with me more than anything I knew.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
Well, I'd go anywhere in the world with you now.
It may be in the middle of a laughing scene, and all of a sudden you have this little explosion. A fleeting moment of happiness.
Well, I'd go anywhere in the world with you now.
It's true, I think there's always a certain pleasure, oddly enough, in suffering, in knowing that we are unhappy and we are suffering. And there's a certain distress in the midst of our joy. Because we know happiness is so ephemeral. With her, it seems especially poignant. For example, this shot, which is cropped so tightly, where you don't even see her hairdo or her clothes or anything. I think it's very... I think in every one of her films, you can find exactly the same expression in every one. We said a while earlier. Exactly how much is her and how much is the film. We wonder sometimes whether the film is reaching out to her or if she's moving towards the character. Yes, I'm sure that in all of her films, you'll see a moment that will be completely Marilyn. This conveys all the tenderness and protectiveness he's going to bring to her. Look at her. No need for words.
I'm not going to say where we will be married for just that reason, because I think it's time enough for everybody to know when it happens and leave us with a little bit of peace until it happens. So that's about it.
There where she looks up at him so adoringly and brushes a speck of invisible dust from his sweater, the future attentive little wife. It's so touching, so moving. There is something so childlike about her. She's like a little girl looking at her father. There's something very deferential in her attitude. She did call certain men her father, as if she wanted to reassure herself that she was like everyone else.
Mon père est un papa. You know, le propriétaire. While tearing off a game of golf, I may make a play for the caddy. But when I do, I don't follow through, 'cause my heart belongs to Daddy. My heart belongs to my Daddy, so I simply couldn't be bad. Yes, my heart belongs to my Daddy. Da 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 da. So I want to warn you, laddie, though I know you're perfectly swell, that my heart belongs to my Daddy. 'Cause Daddy, my Daddy, my little old Daddy, he treats it so.
And Clark Gable, I'm sure he won't mind if I say it, because in a Freudian sense, it's supposed to be very good. I used to always think of him as my father. I pretended that he was my father. I never pretended anyone was my mother. I don't know why. But I always pretended he was my father. I was just 7 years old, and he was a very young man, and I thought that's how I wanted my father to look.
It's terrible to live halfway between being stable and unstable if you're an actor. Knowing the problem doesn't actually help you. Ignoring it is no good either. It's a wish to escape it in a way, but it's impossible to ignore it for very long. Nobody in the world can fool himself always. I mean, you can find excuses. You can drink, you can have fun, go to parties, you can relax, you can work hard at something, convince yourself you're practicing your profession seriously. But you can't completely ignore it. There's no escaping this balance or lack of balance. You know, everything that you do is based on a form of anxiety. A wish to prove to anyone, one person, often only one person, something that you never managed to settle. Did you see her? Run that back a little, can you? Just before. Go back a little bit more. At the moment where she goes between the cars as if nothing was going on, she gives a look at the camera. There's always a spectator for her. There is something physical between her and the public. Whenever she makes an appearance for a publicity shot or at the premiere, there's an electricity, an excitement that... But after it's over, she must feel... The letdown must be terrible, I would think. What happened there? Was she jostled by the crowd? Was she caught? She might have fallen, no? That's incredible. No, I mean, she's coming out of the clinic and look at the way she made up, has been done. She's perfect. And she's coming out of the clinic. What clinic is it? In July of 61, the Neurological Institute. And was it after a nervous breakdown? Is it after a divorce? When was her divorce? 1961? And this is July 5th, 1961.
I think that we're rushing too much nowadays. That's why people get nervous, because they never stop. They're going like that. And I don't think that mankind is intended for them to go like that. They're not supposed to be like machines.
That's just dreadful. When I saw this sequence the first time, I found it appalling. You see she's trying to escape, that she feels trapped. It's just horrible. Imagine there was a camera waiting just outside her room. She's beautiful as always, but she's clearly trying to escape this aggression. Simply horrible. Not even dark glasses. So she really was not prepared. The contrast between this clinic and the way she left the earlier clinic. Her hair was down, her makeup was perfect, her hairdresser must have come to the hospital and prepared her like a queen. Here they're really raping her. It's a violation of... It's awful.
Exclusive. I would like to be more sociable than I am. Hello.
Hello.
I think I have also a gay side to me, also a sad side. Because I could easily be alone. It doesn't bother me to be alone.
Edward with Reminiscence. Begin No, you
Some people I know, they don't like to be alone. I don't mind it. But there is something in people where they need solitude for a while.
It's terribly sad when she says, but those are things you say and you believe them at the time, but they're not really... She said that except for love and work, there's nothing else that's really important. So one supposes that a few years later, when she was fired, as she put it, of the film, and since there was no one in her life just then, that didn't leave her much consolation. She must have had moments of despair and depression, short perhaps, but crushing, devastating for her. Days when she hated herself, times when she gave up all hope.
I'm generally anything, I guess I'm generally miserable. Sometimes I feel a doom set over me. Just as I'm walking on the stage, it's just like a doom sets on me. I don't know why, but I get over it sometimes. Sometimes it lasts all day.
The thing is that all her desires, all her requirements, all her goals, they are unhappily, and I say unhappily because it seems so fragile. They are built on a framework of emotion. All. And that, in my opinion, well, obviously it's too fragile for that lifestyle, for that career, that kind of success. It's all emotion.
You try to be true, and you feel sometimes it's on the verge of a kind of craziness, but it isn't really craziness. It's really getting the truest part of yourself. So I don't think I'm crazy.
When you live through such huge experiences at such a young age, I'm certain that it would be unbelievable if they didn't keep coming back by fragments, by images, little refrains, little pictures from your life, and therefore from the emotions you experience throughout your life. And if you're an actor or an actress, you draw on what you've lived and also on what you've done, on what you've decided to do with your life. With her, it was her films. I think that in the Misfits, you sense that she was trying to hold in her feelings. And that led to even greater instability. That was the price she paid. This desire. Your base should be pretty solid to be able to withstand that kind of introspection and with her, you always know that she's, in all her films, there's this quest. You've often read it, and she said so herself in her interviews. She's constantly questioning and searching. She's always looking for answers, and yet she knows she's the only one who can give them.
That leaves 25 for you, First. Is that all right? First! No, you fellas take it. I just came along for the ride anyway.
And in the film, when she cries to them, "You're dead, you're 3 dead men, you're all dead men," and then the way she identifies with the pony, who's abandoned and who's been raised in the illusion that he's living in the wide open space and in freedom. So when, well, of course, it's obvious that her cries are, she cries out defiance and anguish. But what's worst of all, the thing that's so terrible, is that we don't believe it's only acting. It's more than just her character. There are certain looks that are very moving, heart-rending. She was famous for being late. I think it got worse as time went on, because it's a kind of refusal. I even said it very well, this rejection of time. Arriving on the set is the same as saying, "I'm ready." Well, you never are. So if there is not someone to force you, and by that I mean someone to reassure you, someone who says, "You have to go now because you are ready," and you believe it and you see it. You see in his eye that you are, and you'll never be any more ready. Even if you delay 2 more hours, it won't be any better.
first president, the late Marilyn Monroe.
It gives us a strange sensation now to hear that after the sequence we've just seen. He introduces her as the late Marilyn Monroe, because of course everyone knew that she was never on time. But for us it's especially poignant because it also means someone who's no longer here.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mr. President. Happy birthday to you.
I can now retire from politics after having had happy birthday sung to me in such a sweet, wholesome way.
I'm only 34. I have a few years to go yet.
When I say we mustn't grow old, it's because no one's allowed to grow old in the cinema. It's very difficult. I believe that you can put up with it more or less gracefully, but no one can totally ignore it. I think it's Simone de Beauvoir who said, if a woman says age is no problem, she's a liar. I think it's she who said that. It seems to me that it's true, you may say that you don't care, but you always care just a little bit. To say it is not important is a big lie, a definite lie. We work in a profession that's based on appearances. But appearances, strangely enough, are also our reality. No escaping that. Movies are a world of images and dreams. Marilyn is the most beautiful image that I've ever seen on the screen. But all the same, it's still an image.
Now, if there are any more questions, get in touch with me and I'll answer. I could do it on tape for you and send it to you.